Okay, it's 6 o'clock, so we're going to call this meeting to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, I'll do the roll call.
Yep.
Councilmember Lane.
Here.
Councilmember DeGolia.
Yes.
Member Widmer.
Yep.
Vice Mayor Holland.
Here.
I'll note for the record that Mayor Lewis has an excused absence.
Okay. So we have a few kids here to do a presentation for us. Do you want to sit, or who's introducing this? How are we starting this?
Should I have my back to you, or I'll kind of go like this so I can say hi to you guys?
Perfect.
I'm the assistant principal at Encinal. My name is Gina Watkins, and I can't even believe it. I'm so proud of these kids. They have given up so much time, like 15 lunches and recesses, which in elementary school is a very, very big deal, to come. And this has not been little kid work. It's been real data science work. And I didn't really even know what data science was. I learned alongside these students. And San Mateo County Office of Education, their Safe Routes to School, coupled with Sophia's Our Voice organization, has blown me away with the project-based learning. I don't even think you knew that that was a term. The project-based learning that they have created for these students in this real-life event. Anyway, Sophia, I'm going to let you take it away because you've done the work on this. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Ms. Watkins, and to everyone at Encinal Elementary who is so supportive of this project and this collaboration. In a moment, I want to kind of introduce you to what this project was before the students share their process and their findings. But my work is doing community science projects with different community groups. So this spans from young students to middle-aged folks and older adults. And it's founded on the idea that residents and everyday people are the experts in their own communities, and that there's already a lot of ideas about what could be made better that we just need to sort of bring together in an organized process. And that's what we've gotten to do at the school. So let's get into the slides and share a little bit of background before passing it to the students. All right, so here's what you'll be hearing today, a little background from me, and then I'll pass it to the students. They're going to go over two main themes. So I'll share with you the process, but what came out of the process was two thematic areas, and these were bike lanes and the walking path on Middlefield. And at the end, maybe we'll have some time for question and answer. All right, so a little background on what community science is. When I say that, I mean members of the public partnering with research scientists to advance knowledge, but also to transform our communities together. So we engage the students in the Our Voice method, and this is a participatory science method to give community members, and in this case students, a tool to advocate for change in their community through elevating their lived experience, through capturing data about what they're seeing out in their community. And so to do this, the students use the Discovery tool. It's a simple app that allows them to take photos of things that they're seeing in their community. So we went as a group of students on a walk around Encinal Elementary, and they took photos of both things that were working really well, things that were really beautiful and conducive to their safety, as well as things that could be made better, to be made safer for their commute to school. And so they used this app together on a walk, and then we reviewed the findings together. Here's a summary of the data. So we had 17 pairs of 5th grade students going out answering the question, what makes it easy or hard to walk, bike, or roll around Encinal Elementary? This was our research question, and the students collected lots of data, 123 photos, 74 audio comments to accompany those photos, and 50 text comments. This was the map of our walk. We had 3 different groups go out and survey Middlefield as well as Encinal. And you'll see that the red little dudes are negative, so things that could be made better. Things that are green are positives, things that are working really well already. And the orange means that it was mixed, a little bit of both. So the students observed a lot out on our walk, and then they engaged with us over a couple of weeks to discuss what it meant, what the photos and the comments meant, what were some of the key ideas that kept coming up, and what were some other ideas for making those red photos, those negatives, better. And so they came up with ideas for change, and that's what they'll be presenting today. So I'll now be happy to pass it over to Group 1 to introduce the first theme.
Okay. Hi, I'm Quinn. Hi, I'm Aria. Hi, my name is Lucy. Hi, I'm Kate. Hi, I'm Campbell. Hi, I'm Yui. Hi, I'm Athena. Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm Rebecca. And today we're going to be talking about how we can make it easier to bike, walk, or roll to school. In Group 1, we're going to be talking about how we can make bike lanes better.
These photos are about narrow bike lanes and how widening bike lanes would also help slow down speeding cars.
So in some of the photos, it shows that there is a bike path, but sometimes it's too narrow, or maybe there's not enough space, and cars can come in the bike lane. And mainly a lot of bikers, let's say there's 3 bikers on the bike lane, and there's not enough space for all of them, and it's very narrow, so they have to go in a line. The first and the second photos are showing that something is blocking the bike lane, which is making it more narrow. And in the last picture, it's showing that they're very narrow, so we need to make it bigger so that there's space for people to bike. And if something is blocking it, there's still space.
So our solution is to widen the bike lane so bikers have more room to bike to school and it's safer for them to. Yeah, and along with widening the bike lanes, we can narrow the road and let the bike lane take over the space. And the narrowed roads might help the cars slow down, so it will also make it safer for bikers who bike. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. We would like to see your faces. Is there a way for
You
you
guys
guys to
might be
do?
more comfortable facing them.
Face your
Yeah,
parents, it's
I think
okay, we
it's
can
o-
hear you.
We can hear you. Just
Yeah.
maybe turn around and
We're-
smile at
we're-
us
we're-
sometimes.
Just know we're listening,
Yeah.
right?
We also
I mean,
have,
For your
we also
shoulder
have it
and
down here,
see,
so I'm
you
taking
know,
notes.
maybe one person
So-
isn't listening.
So I'll just say one thing, what you and everyone else in this room should know. We represent you. We are your council. Our job is to set policy. So what you're addressing here is exactly the right thing for you to be addressing to us. We represent you. So just know that. And we love it that you're here. We'd actually like you to come to every meeting.
Yeah.
So you can talk that way. I think you'll be more comfortable facing your classmates and your parents, but we are listening. We're here.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Hi, my name is Dylan.
I'm Erin. I'm Olivia.
I'm Kai.
I'm Damien.
So now we are going to be talking about a different solution to how we can make the bike.
You can see it over there.
Okay, make the bike lanes more safe for bikers.
So first of all, the bike lane should be glow in the dark. As you can see in the second photo, the bike lane is nice and it's bright, so it should definitely be glow in the dark. But in the first photo, don't you think the bike lane looks kind of like the road? So whenever I bike to school, I can see cars easily out my window, but I'm not so sure it's the same thing for truck drivers. So when truck drivers come, they might not see the bikers right there, so they might accidentally go into the bike lane by accident. Recently, we had an incident which involved a truck driver and a biker. And the way to fix that is to make the bike lanes more visible for people to see.
We could also help make the bike lanes more safer, but by brightening them up, because like Erin said, lots of people cannot see the sorry. Yeah, okay. The color between. So lots of people drive into the bike lanes because they can't see the paint.
Hi again, and I have a personal story to share. So I bike to school on Middlefield Road every day with my dad. And what I see a lot is the cars, they tend to kind of like move into the bike lanes, and that makes me feel scared. So from everything you heard today is from how to make them safer.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elliot.
Hi, I'm Oliver.
I'm Sigourney.
Hello, my name is Noelle.
And I'm George.
As we heard from earlier, the problem is drivers keep driving into the bike lane.
And it's very annoying for the bikers to see this, so we think that delineators could help solve the problem.
If we put recycled delineators with reflectors, that would make it so people could, so drivers would stay away from them and then they wouldn't intrude into the bike lane. We could also put up planter boxes between the bike lane and the road to protect the bikers and to add some greenery to the road.
If there's a protector between the bike lane and the road, people that you normally drive cars will feel more safe, so they just bike more, and that's less polluting from cars, and people will feel safer.
Plus, since the delineators are made of recycled plastic, then we're also helping save the world.
The delineators will be about 5 to 10 pounds, about 40 inches, and 95% recycled, which would be enough to block the car from going into the bike lanes. Thank you. Hi, I'm Yuching.
Hi, I'm Sakura.
I'm Fiore.
I'm Tonya. Today our topic is walking path on Middlefield Road. In the first picture, it shows that there is no sidewalk for people to walk on. The second picture shows that there's a huge hole in the area for people to walk.
In the third picture, there's like a path, but it's not like a sidewalk, and it can be hard for strollers and wheelchairs.
In this picture, it shows that there's a lot of nature, which is good for the scenery and just makes you feel better.
In the second picture, there's no protection, so it's a little dangerous.
Adding on, it's dangerous for cars that might swerve by accident or bicycles also swerving into the path.
So our solution is even out walking path on Middlefield.
How we could do that is put more compact natural materials so it's not fully concrete either. We could also do an event to pick up all the litter that is just lying around there.
We think we should have compact dirt so we can keep the nature vibe.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Waverly.
I'm Ruby.
My name is Olive.
My name is Grace.
Our problem is that the bike path and the walking path are close together, and the walking path isn't protected. We need to help protect the walkers from dangerous cars and any accidents. Our solution is to create a barrier in between the road and the walking path.
So the barrier would be made out of bushes, so it's not bad for the environment, but it's also healthy and not hurting it. So the barrier would be made out of plants and bushes, and on the outside it would be hard and rough, so it could protect the cars and any threats going into the sidewalk without damaging the people who might be driving the car. And on the inside of the sidewalk, there would be soft plants, so if someone fell over, they would still be okay.
An example of these plants would be on the outside facing the bike path. A sturdy bush would be the English holly, and on the inside, the lamb's ear, so that we could protect any walker who swerves to get out of the way of someone.
This is something that I want to say to you guys and the rest of you. So when I was also with my partner, when we were walking on Middlefield Road at the end, I saw a tree with a black power line with it, and I took a picture of it. Said I don't think it got it, but
I think we need to take care of it because if it rains, it can cause fire hazards around the area and it can also damage a lot of people's lives. So I also hope. So that's why I wanted to tell you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just to wrap up, first I want to just give a moment to give another round of applause to the students. And since I know one of our other collaborators and wonderful partners on this project was still in traffic on the way over, I want to just greet Teresa here and offer, if you want a moment, to just share about your connection to this work.
Hi, my name is Teresa Baez-Kelly. I'm the Safe Routes to School Coordinator for the County Office of Education. And we have been working, Sophia probably told you, with the students since the third day of school. They've given up like 7 or 8 lunches, and they've been great partners, and we had a great time with them with the curriculum that we taught, but also taking them on the data walk and having them present at the walk audit and now here. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I made it on time to see you all present.
Wonderful. Well, I'll pass it to you all if you have anything to share with the students. Thank you.
First off, thanks to the students for putting in the time on this and sacrificing your lunch hours, et cetera. This is very valuable information. I hope, since part of the street, Encinal is also responsibility of Menlo Park. I hope you're taking it to Menlo Park Council as well. I think that'd be very pertinent. A lot of great data in here, and we'll have to share this with our Transportation, Bike, and Ped Committee. And we're currently doing our Bike Ped Master Plan right now, so hopefully this could wrap into what we're planning on that. So there are changes to come with regards to bikes and peds, pedestrian walkways. So. Thank you very much. This has been very, very informative and really, very impressive work for y'all. Plus, the work that the coordinators did for you. But thank you, and you guys were so proud. We're very proud of you, and you've been so brave in presenting in front of all these people. So, thanks again. I appreciate it.
And you want to go after Rick?
So the first thing I want to say is anytime you have any problem or any issue, you need to raise it. So this is really good that all of you have spent the time to think about this really important issue and to bring it to us because we make decisions for this town. So I'm very proud that all of you spent the time and came here to present this to us. When we first put in the bike lanes that you have now on Middlefield, which we did about 10 years ago, it was part of a strategy that our most important work on the roads is to create safe routes to school. And you're furthering it beyond where we went. And I really appreciate that because I think it's really important. And I think we're going to make changes because of what you've done here today. And that's really important. So I want you to know that anytime you have an issue that you need to talk to people about, you should feel free to talk to your friends just like you've done and your teachers and come and communicate to us because we represent you. I'm very proud of you for doing this. Thank you.
First of all, I think you should all apply for a job with our traffic department. You did an outstanding job on this. And there are a lot of good, the other thing that helps this presentation, you did an outstanding job, all of you. The pictures help tell the story, and it really showed that a highlight about the obstructions in the bike trail, and it's everything about it. I love the idea of the brighter green as a way to demarcate it. I think we want to make sure that we don't over barrier, because one of these barriers gets pushed into, if a car hits it, gets pushed into people. So we have to be careful with that. But everything about this is great. And I live off of Middlefield Road, and I try to walk down that path, and I'm old, and so there's a lot of stuff to trip on there. So there definitely needs some work on that path. So all the way down. So I really do appreciate it. Excellent job, and really useful stuff that we will definitely use for the work going forward. So appreciate it. And anything else you want to do that along this line on any part of like trees or homes or anything else, just put it together and we'll listen to you. So thank you very much. Oh, by the way, I did have an article that I found about Menlo Park and this bike lanes, and they have short and they have sort of longer humps than we do, and they're flatter. And what's happening is that the cars are actually moving around the humps so they don't hit the bump. So that's another. It doesn't look like an obstruction in the bike lane, but it ends up being an obstruction because people try to move around the site. So it's something we also have. We'll add that to your study. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm gonna close it out. Thank you so much. I mean, you guys made a choice to do public service. You volunteered your free time to help improve your community, and not all your classmates chose to do that. So you guys should feel really proud of that choice. I hope you keep making that choice, so you keep choosing to give back to your community. It's really important. And I mean, that's what we're all doing here. So I hope that you guys keep that energy forever. I love the idea of nature vibes. I think we should put that in our general plan instead of rural character. So I think that's great. I think also it takes a lot of courage to come speak in front of a large group. And so you guys are so brave for doing it. You were so articulate, and you're getting great practice so you can come back and do it again and again and again to here, to Menlo Park, wherever, because I think these are some really excellent ideas here that I hope we execute. And you guys should keep coming back and encouraging us to follow through on your great ideas. So thank you so much again for coming today. Great job. Okay, and we have a gift for you guys that has been given.
Just use the mic to say that.
Okay.
So the town wanted to thank you, students, and so we got you some take-home stickers and a mug for some of the teachers. And then our police department has some other really cool stuff that we're going to coordinate and drop off. We got stickers of our famous dog and some other little giveaways that we'll deliver over to the school to thank you guys for presenting to us.
And don't forget our Halloween celebration on the 30th.
Yeah, we'd love to see you here. The whole space gets transformed. I think there's going to be a pirate ship. There's going to be plenty of candy, some bounce houses, some ice cream, but we encourage you to walk or take your bikes because parking is a challenge.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, everybody. So then I don't know if you guys are you gonna stay for the whole meeting or? Yeah.
Vice Mayor, we do have public comment on this item.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, we have public comment on this item.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
So great.
It was good. Thank you very
Vice
much.
Mayor,
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you for organizing. It's really, really
We may
important.
have you come back
Really
for
valuable.
the
If
transportation
everyone
committee.
knows
They were
to
better
come
the second
and
time.
talk
So,
about what
they
the
were great
council
the first.
does,
When
I'd
we
be
have our
happy to
next
do it
transportation
anytime.
committee, I'll talk and see if I can.
Thank you so
they
much
can
for
come back.
coming. This
It's
was
in the
so
after,
great.
it's in the
Really, really
evening
great.
like this.
Thank you.
Really? Okay, that's good. Well, Ensignal's in the right place for that. So, okay, well, we have more to do.
Thank you.
All right, next.
Okay.
All right,
Vice Mayor, can you hear me?
Pretty cool. I don't know who organized that, but they should get.
That was
I think it was the
really
county
good.
was going around the
Really good.
schools.
It's the county.
So that was the county.
I think it was the county
No,
initiative.
I saw
It's,
her.
they
Yeah,
bought,
Teresa.
it's, Sophia's the, it's a non.
Okay,
Not every school
you guys ready?
that have the, like,
Vice Mayor, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
We need
Okay.
public comment on this item.
For the presentations?
Yes, and we do have one raised hand.
Oh, okay.
Okay, fine.
You know, I messaged that person. I don't know if you wanted to take
We don't-
public comment
we
on the
don't see
presentation or if
anybody
you wanted to
online.
postpone it until we got to public comments. Can we do that, Mona?
I can barely hear you.
Oh, sorry. So I saw that raised hand, but I thought we might wait to take public comments until we got to that portion of the meeting.
Yes, we should take public comment on this item though, just to see if anyone has anything to say, and if not, then we can proceed.
Okay, sure. So Martha, who did raise her hand, it is about the Encinal.
Oh, okay, great.
Martha?
Yes, hi. Hi, good evening. So I'm Martha Berrigan, and I'm actually a school teacher there at Encinal, and I'm also the mayor of East Palo Alto. And so I just wanted to, I wanted the kids to hear me, but it's okay. I will see them tomorrow at school. I was their third grade teacher, so I'm so proud to see that they were highly engaged in this process. And I just wanted to also thank Teresa because I actually had this conversation with her on May 10th when we had the CCAG board meeting. It was the day that unfortunately we lost one of our former Encinal students and colleagues. Dylan, I'm sure that you were probably aware of the situation that occurred that day. And so when Teresa finished her presentation, I immediately approached her and I said, Teresa, I love your presentation. Is there something you can do for our school? And I'm just so happy and overjoyed. And I wish I could have been there in person to cheer on my former students. But I also wanted to thank, your public works director and the Atherton City Council for listening to the students and their concerns and for validating the work that they put into it. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody from the bottom of my heart. And I guess I'll be seeing you around in the county committees.
Thank you, Martha.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so is there any more public comment or?
There's none on.
Okay, cool. Then let's move on to our next presentation from Fiona with the Atherton Youth Advisory Group.
Sure.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you so much for having us tonight. My name is Fiona Lempress. I'm a junior at Sacred Heart Prep. I've lived in Atherton almost my entire life, and I love our town. 2 years ago, I noticed that there are many teens in Atherton, yet we lack the ability to have a formal vote in our government. And that's why I decided to create the Atherton Youth Advisory Group. Our mission is to give a voice to the many teens in Atherton, educate on the importance of local government, and build community within the youth of our amazing town. Our members are high schoolers who either live or attend school in Atherton. We're happy to have members from all of the high schools in Atherton, as well as many outside. This year we have 12 members, and we're looking for many more. Hopefully some of the fifth graders will come join us one day. And we have 2 of our members here, and they'd love to introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Vihan. I am a sophomore at the Nueva School, and I live in Lloyden Park.
Hey, I'm Audie. I'm a junior. I go to Crystal Springs, but I live in Atherton, just right off Stockbridge. I wanted to take my time here to talk a little bit about how the councils developed, or the groups developed since I joined, and what we did in the last year. So I joined the group at around the fall of 2023 when it originally started, and over that time I've seen it grow from like 5 to 12 members, which is doubling in size. And over the last year, I think, the 2 big, most meaningful things that I was involved in and I thought were great were the Earth Day and the revival of the Easter egg hunt tradition. So for the Easter egg hunt tradition, as I'm sure most of you know, we got the supplies, went out, hid the eggs, and then orchestrated the event for all the kids. And we had a pretty good amount of turnout, and it just is heartwarming to see these kids, coming back to a tradition that we used to enjoy as kids and, instilling that back in them. Then at Earth Day, we helped out at a lot of the stalls. The one I specifically helped out with was someone brought earthworms to show how they function in our ecosystem. So I helped set up the earthworm box and drill it together. So I thought that was also really impactful because later we got a lot of interest at that stall. So yeah, that was great. This year I'm looking forward to continuing the Easter egg hunt, and then also we have a poetry contest which we're organizing with the library, and that's gotten over 100 entries. So we're really excited to announce those results in late October. So it's looking to be a great year.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So our Easter egg hunt was also eco-friendly because we found that, especially in working with Earth Day, that there was so much plastic generated from Easter egg hunts with the plastic eggs and the candy wrappers. So we did an exchange system at the hunt where we used wooden eggs that we had, like if you had 5 eggs, then you could exchange that for like a teddy bear. But then if you only had 2 eggs, then you would exchange that for like a stamp. And it was really cool to see the kids experience that. This year, we're planning on attending a bike and pedestrian committee meeting late in November to learn more about committees and hopefully give input on traffic issues affecting teens in our community. We're also hoping, if it's okay with you all, to have a council member come to attend some of our meetings this year. We would love to hear what you all think and how we can best give some input and support the teens in our town and what issues you would like our input on. We are looking forward to collaborating with the town and providing input on issues which affect our community, and we would now love to answer any questions that you guys have.
Sounds like you're doing really good work. I'll be interested in coming to your meeting sometime.
Yes, that'd be amazing. I will probably email out our meeting list we have the end of 2025 finalized, but we don't have 2026 finalized quite yet, but I will get those out soon.
Just if you get it to Anthony, he can get it to all of us.
Okay, I will.
Right.
Thank you.
Very good. Go ahead.
Great. Anything else?
I have a question for you for the poetry contest. What does the winner get? Are we gonna hear the poem?
Yeah, there's gonna be a ceremony in the library actually, and so we have a couple of judges from like just places in like colleges in the area, and then they're gonna present the winners with like a certificate, a prize, like a cash prize, and then the poets will each read out their winning poems. So yeah.
Very cool.
If you end up thinking about it, you may want to think about having like 3 or so of the poets come here and read their poetry here.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
So I just want to say, I know I said this last year when you came, it's really important that you're doing this. We need every demographic group in Atherton to be represented, and there are groups that aren't. And you've stepped up and you're representing this high school group that never really voiced themselves to us in the past. So I think it's really important. I was glad that the little kids came up. That's the first step. That's like 10 years before you. But now you're carrying it forward, and I think it's really important. I'm really proud of you, and I'm happy for Atherton because it adds an element of complexity to this town that exists but has been silent, and you're giving it voice. That's really important, really important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, first off, I'm really happy that you guys stepped up on the Easter egg hunt. I thought it was a big success. Your participation in the 2 Earth Days, I think also was well received by people. And so I think that you're doing a great job. Just keep it up, and hopefully as you matriculate and go to wherever you're going to go next,
I hope that you're also generating leadership to take over. So this isn't just a one-off thing that Fiona started and, you know, she and her cohorts got going, and that will die when you leave. So we want to have it continue to go and continue to grow, because it's good for having those people participate and get involved in the community, and then also keep the council appraised of what the community wants to have from the you know, the high school age students. So thank you very much for what you're doing. Thanks.
Yeah.
I really hope you guys come to a bike ped committee. We, at our last meeting, went over the survey results for our bike ped master plan, and there were no responses from anyone below 20 years old, which is a huge category of people who are more likely to do active transportation. And so I would love to have you guys be more involved and give more feedback and have more perspective on how you like to get around town and how you would like to get around town in the future. So, because you are a big part of our town and we need to make sure your interests are represented. So I'm excited that you guys are going to come, and Eric and I are going to have to arm wrestle over who gets to come to your meetings. So
Rotate.
we will
We can
take
rotate.
turns.
I already sent a
So-
letter. I already sent the letters that I'm available.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of their meetings. I've been to a couple of their meetings by telephone before.
Yeah. So
You're all more than welcome.
yes, please. And to echo what Bill said, I hope that this committee, you guys are going to keep building your bench so this can continue, because I think we want your feedback on a lot of stuff, including not just bike ped, but also environmental programs committee. There's a lot of things that affect the town long term that we would love to hear your feedback on. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time tonight. It was great to see you all again. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I want to reiterate the bicycle pedestrian issue. I'm glad you're targeting that as an area to focus on. It's totally appropriate right now because we're in the process of revising the transportation plan, and we need your input on it.
Yes, we're so excited to give it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Might want to go outside and recruit some of those kids for you.
I know, yeah, go. Yeah. Okay. Are we going to do public comment for this presentation? Has anyone raised their hand for? Okay. Okay, so now this is the time of the meeting where we have public comment for people wishing to address the council on any matter that is not on the agenda, that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. State law prohibits the city from acting on items not listed on the agenda except by special action of the city council under specified circumstances. Comments on items on the agenda are limited to 3 minutes, and comments for items not on the agenda are limited to 1 minute. Is there anybody that would like to do public comment? Okay, great. Okay, now it's time for the disclosure of ex parte communications. Does anyone have any like to share? No? Okay, great. Cool. And then departmental written reports. Does anybody have any questions that you want to bring up? Departmental report. Okay. All right. And then now, Mona, do you want to do a report out of our closed session?
Yes, please. Thank you. The council did meet in closed session. There was no public comment in advance of that, and the council provided direction to staff.
Okay. Now we are at the consent agenda, which is items 1 through 8. Are there any items that anyone on the council want to pull or ask questions about?
I'll just abstain on item 2 because I wasn't on the council for those meetings.
So when we take the vote, we can do all items except for item 2 in one motion, and then
But you can just state that he recused himself.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll just do one vote.
Right. Right.
I move approval of the consent
I
agenda.
second.
Wait, first we have to do public comment. Anyone have any public comment on the consent?
This is include item 5 on EV chargers?
Yep.
Yes.
Then I do.
Ken Frederick Lindenwood. Let's see. I sent each of you a note you may not have seen yet about the EV chargers, but I was a little surprised sitting on a committee and going to a lot of committees that I hadn't heard anything about this since it was sent back last year not to be done. And so my question is, we're all trying to do the same thing, which is both help our environment and serve our public, serve the people of the town. And I think we could do better if we work together more. I think the town residents should be working much closer with these sort of issues. And this is a case where it seems to me that at least the 3 committees dealing in this area should have been talked to about this beforehand, such that, is this the right thing to do? And if so, where would we put them? So when I go through it and talk to people, there's a lot of concern, you may not have heard it, but there is concern out there saying, yes, the police department, they're going to get electric vehicles. They need to have chargers, no question. But do we really want to put 4 more in Holbrook Palmer Park? First of all, as we know, Holbrook Palmer Park doesn't have a lot of parking anyway, as we know, when we have meetings. Had a meeting 2 weeks ago, people had to drive all around looking for parking. 2, virtually, I don't think anyone for the town works in Holbrook Palmer Park. And we have 4 over here already that are often unused. And so the question is, why would we do this? Are there things we could do better for our environmental requirements other than these 4 chargers? And I think if you survey the 3 committees I'm talking about, transportation, the Park and Rec, and the EPC, you might get some ideas which give you better turn back or value for the money and for the environment than what's being spent on these. So I guess what we're saying is, I don't see a need for them. Nobody in Atherton needs them. You're within a mile of your house anyway. So if we're going to really spend that money and use on something as the Clean Energy Group has said, do something for help the environment, I think there's some other things we should look at, and we should look at them now. There's nothing urgent about putting in 4 more chargers right now. Let's get the committees together, have them look at it as a focus group and say, could we do something better? And the answer may be no. Go ahead, go do it. But I think you should get the input from your residents, which you're not getting at the moment. That's it. Thanks.
Okay.
Public session.
All right. So more public comment. So does anyone want to have any comments or questions? The motion?
I just want a clarification. We could go ahead with the approval of the EV grant process and then go through the process of making sure we dial it in for whatever location or whatever else we want to do during that process. But if we hit the window for this now, we get in on this program, and then we can decide if we need 2 or 4 or where they are. Do I understand that properly?
This contract is for the installation of 2 charging ports, which consist of 4 actual chargers at the electric location in the front parking lot where the town's temporary buildings were located.
Yes.
So not near the pavilion, not near the main house. Just at the front, that electrical outlet already exists.
Okay.
So that's what the contract.
All right.
We discussed this before you were on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we did have a few.
Okay, good.
About this.
All right. That's what I just want to make sure. All right, good. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Make a motion. Okay.
Second.
Rick, got a second? All right.
And you're going to record me as abstaining on 2. Okay.
Okay. So what do I say again to get? All in favor?
Aye. Except for the extension on 2.
Okay, we don't have a public hearing, so now we're moving to the regular agenda. The first item is the consideration of an appointment to the Environmental Programs Committee. Anthony,
I'd be happy to present. So as you know, the Environmental Programs Committee has had a few vacancies. A few folks have been promoted to council, and others have left the committee because they moved out of town. We had an application, Mr. Sirium Iyer, and he unfortunately is out of town traveling, but he is online and he's available to speak to his interest in the committee. He and I have had a few conversations. Christabel made herself available. I know that he's reviewed some of our most recent agendas and he's demonstrated an interest in serving.
Okay. Would he like to address us?
I believe he would. He's up at around 3 a.m. right now, I think, where he's at. So he made sure to be here. He's on the line.
Wow.
You have the floor, sir.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for consideration of my application. And I'm getting a chance to get back into serving our community. I was previously chairman of our transportation committee, and I'm looking at this as an opportunity to serve. At the same time, I was trying to make sure that I zoom in on a committee where I can learn. I can also provide some input, and at the same time, be conscious of the amount of time that I can spare, considering some of the upcoming travel that I have. And so this kind of fit very well within the scope of all those considerations. So once again, thank you for considering my application. And if any of you have any questions, specific questions for me, I'll be glad to answer.
Anyone have any questions?
Welcome. We're short one person still, so we definitely would love to have you on the committee.
Yeah, just for the record, can you just give a little thumbnail of your background, just so it's on the record?
So I'm an engineer by background, and and have an MBA, and I'm an entrepreneur. I've, as I mentioned, I'm okay, and I also live on Green Oaks, and I had to go abroad to serve for a couple of years, and coming back later this month in October, I'll be living in Los Altos Hills, renting until I get my house back middle of next year. I have 2 children. My son graduated from Menlo School, and and I've been living in Atherton since 2014.
George, is that a problem?
No, his primary residence is in the town of Atherton. He just rented it out temporarily while he was abroad.
But he doesn't presently live there.
That's correct. But that is his primary residence on record. I checked with him.
Are you registered to vote in Atherton?
Yes.
That's our minimum requirement.
Okay.
Okay.
To verify.
Hey, we've got some real quorum issues on the EPC, so I'm very happy that you're raising your hand and that you can come to these meetings, since we had to cancel the last one from lack of attendance. So, you guys have any more questions or?
He did express interest in the June 2027.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move that he be appointed.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome. Thank you for raising your hand to join this
Thank you,
committee.
everybody. Thank you, everybody, and I'm
right, go to
hoping
bed.
to be able to serve. Thank
Go
you.
get some sleep.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the next item is review and approve amendments to the franchise agreement with Green Waste Recovery regarding roll-off bin requirements for construction and demolition projects, and to provide direction regarding our town franchise fee. Christabel, you want to walk us through it?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Yes, for this item, oh, did you have something? For this item, staff is recommending that the council review and approve the proposed amendments to the franchise agreement regarding roll-off bin requirements for C&D projects, and consider the approval based on the Refuse and Recycling Committee's discussion, which I hope that they can touch on. And additionally to that, I'm asking that the council discuss possible amendments to the town's franchise fee, currently set at 5%. Under section 3.1 of the franchise agreement, also shown in attachment 1, it is said that Green Waste will have the exclusive franchise to collect, transport, recycle, process, and dispose of all construction and demolition debris within the town beginning January 1st of 2026. In September of 2020, the City Council approved the agreement establishing this exclusive service date, and the town issued a 5-year notice of intent on December 1st of 2020 to all current and past roll-off debris service providers operating in the town. As of January 1st, 2026, as that date approaches, staff have begun working with R3 Consulting to review the operational, compliance, and outreach considerations related to this transition.
This includes clarifying the scope of green waste exclusivity, identifying lawful exceptions, and determining how those exceptions should be integrated into the municipal code and operating day-to-day procedures. The Refuse and Recycling Committee reviewed this item in August of 2025, where we provided context and presented these additional exemptions before you today, clarifying that the franchise exclusivity does not apply where materials are self-hauled in compliance with local code, transported in company-owned dump trucks, or handled entirely within a trade-specific operation using owned containers. Staff and Green Waste also committed to notifying haulers and residents through an educational handout and have been attending the Builders Roundtables to give this advance notice and take Q&A. The existing agreement with Green Waste Recovery gives them that exclusive right as of January 1st, 2026, but Section 3.2 outlines specific exceptions. These exceptions generally apply to waste streams that fall outside of the definition of recyclable materials or construction and demolition debris, as used in the agreement, to materials handled by specialized service providers like hazardous waste haulers, grease collectors, or situations where removal of certain organic or bulky goods is incidental to someone's trade work rather than hauling service. While these existing exceptions work, they leave ambiguity, particularly for non-hazardous materials non-hazardous materials removed without roll-off bins. And so you'll see those exceptions in O, P, and Q. And these proposed exceptions clarify that the franchise exclusivity does not apply where materials are self-hauled in compliance with local code, transported in company-owned dump trucks, or handled entirely within a trade-specific operation using their owned containers. At the refuse meeting, staff also discussed the franchise fee and revenue adjustment for January 1. Last year, the council reduced the franchise fee from 10% to 5% to offset the 11% contractual rate adjustment for green waste. For 2026, the contractual rate increase is recommended to be 11% for customers, while the franchise fee remains at 5%. Committee members did not recommend that the franchise fee be reduced beyond the 5%, but recommended that the council discuss the issue at this meeting. And currently, the town does receive $237,000 in franchise fee revenue at that 5%. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Could be because I haven't been part of the conversation before. If there's non-compliance, like somebody says, you know, it's nice of you guys to give that to me, but I'm going to use my own person. How's that handled?
So we have code enforcement on site, and we've had communications with them, and we're working with them to improve the operational day-to-day. But for the first 6 months, we're doing the education and outreach approach, where we are educating folks, pointing them to the notices that we prepared, the handouts that we're working with Green Waste to prepare, to really educate and push for that. And then after those 6 months, that may transition into warnings. But what that process will look like, we're still working out with code enforcement and the building department while we understand their day-to-day operations and their permitting system. But the first 6 months is absolutely going to be mostly education and outreach without any enforcement.
And do we have a list of anyone who has the ability to do that right now in the city? Like any firms that are doing that right now?
Like existing haulers?
Yes.
There are haulers. They're allowed to operate through January 1st, 2026, but they were notified that that is their deadline.
Okay, I saw that in there. I just wanted to double check. All right, thank you.
Councilmember Whitmer?
The other haulers have known about this for a couple of years. I've gotten comments from several of them already asking why we did.
Yeah.
It's well known throughout the community.
Right.
Basic one is redwood box, but there's also the orange crate hauler.
Right.
And I've heard from all of them. They've all contacted and said, "Why did you guys do this?" They've heard that it's happening. Can't there be an exception? All that stuff.
That's why I figured phase one would be that. Yeah.
We've also brought it to our builders table a few times.
Yeah, and our contractors know about it, as mentioned in the discussion, that at the Builders Roundtable, they've all been notified.
Yeah.
So if they're tearing a roof off, obviously that can go into the back of a dump truck, but you know, they're actually doing C&D demolishing. We want to get the credit for it gets recycled.
Okay, got it.
Builders Roundtable folks' comments are what helped craft OP.
Okay.
Good.
Have they seen the latest with all the?
And we've put a handout, sort of an FAQ, and a notice at the building permit center. So folks will see the notice when they walk up, and then we have available copies for them to take.
Right.
Questions? I have one question. I assume that at some point we might start instituting fines as a penalty. How does that, is that something that will come in front of the council for us to look at what that dollar amount is, who it gets?
Be an administrative citation issued by code enforcement.
Okay,
which
and
is
would that go to?
$100, starts at 100, goes up to 200.
Our fees.
And is that the resident pays for that, or the contractor, the vendor, who?
Resident.
But that won't get enforced until
After an
at least
educational
6
period.
months, and, okay. Okay, no more questions? We take public comment. Is there any public comment? Online? Okay, we'll bring it back for comments. So there's two, we just have to, there's two things.
Two
There's
actions, right, or two items. The first, you can approve the OP and Q with the contract amendment,
Okay.
but then separately have a discussion about what you want to do with the franchise fee and provide staff with direction.
Okay, you guys want to do the first one first and then talk about the fee? Okay, so does anyone have any comments about the first one, approving the,
Oh, I think it's well,
Okay.
well done by the staff as we mentioned, it's been discussed with the contractors and it's also been discussed thoroughly with Greenways. And they were very open to having the exemptions, and in fact, they welcomed the exemptions because they said, we can't do everything, we have so many of these. So I think it came up with a happy medium, and thanks to George and our contractor, the ball to participate crafting that. So I'm ready to make a motion that we approve the contract amendments to solidify and formalize our roll-on, roll-off aspect of our contract.
okay, any seconds? Cool, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the franchise fee, and I did have a question about that. When we talked about it last year, I thought we had approved our franchise fee change for 5 years. Didn't we, or was that was 5 years, right? Isn't that, if I'm
We took
remembering?
5% out.
Right, but for
We went
a
down to
period,
5%. Did we put a limit on it?
No.
No.
it's just for forever,
So you
until
changed
we
it back.
decide.
Until we choose
Can
to.
add it back
Bring it
in
back.
later.
The timeline was, at the time you reduced it to 5%, at the 5-year mark, the franchise adjustments would be at the CPI instead of
Okay.
an increased amount.
Right.
So that's where around the 5 years came.
Okay, got it. So in 5 years, we can use it if we want to
Right.
start out of that, if we so desire. Okay, so then the question is, do we want to increase this subsidy essentially of the residents' garbage to offset the increase further? From the subcommittee? Take a pitch?
Well, I didn't bring it up at the subcommittee, but I will say this. CPI this year was not 11%. So I'm sure we'll hear from some people charged to that. If somebody were to say, okay, hey, we're in favor of doing something, what would you recommend? I would try and get the increase down under single digits, so it would be a 9% increase as opposed to an 11. But it's a pleasure of the council, really. Thought that last year it was very, very important because we would have had actually 3 11% increases in a row. And I think that that there are a number of people on different parts of town that are living off Social Security, that are, you know, house rich, but not rich. Okay, they can't afford to go anywhere else. They're in the house that they've been in for years, and they're living on $2,100 a month, and trying to eat with everything else going up. So trash is just one thing, and they're not generating a lot of trash either, by the way. They have this small bins and they don't put out a green bin. So I thought last year it was pertinent. This year it might be, but it's the pleasure of the council. You know, I'd prefer not to get a lot of calls with regards to it, but I do believe that getting it to 9% might be worthwhile. But again, it's the pleasure of the council. I do understand that while we have a surplus of several $1 million in our budget after all is said and done, you know, taking another couple percent out isn't going to reduce our surplus. I mean, 75,000. So I don't think it's a big ask to do it, but it's really the pleasure of everybody. Thank you.
What's the total citywide amount of 11%? Do we know? I mean, so, I mean, are they asking for another $250,000 or another $400,000? How much is that? The 11% across the whole town?
In the 11% increase in
Yes,
the
that
trash rates, what
correct.
that revenue is to the hauler?
Yes.
Our
The
5%
franchise fee right now is about, it's in the staff report.
It's 5%, 237,000.
237,000. So we gave up 5%, so we gave up about 237,000, right?
Right, roughly.
And essentially,
but I think
Probably
10%,
11%
so
is
then
about
times 10.
500,000.
So they're asking for a $500,000 increase to their rate. Okay, and how do they justify that change?
It was part of the contract.
It's negotiated.
It was a negotiated contract.
That's our deal.
Okay, and it's a fixed price contract.
They bid low and then inch it
Well,
up.
they
every
did
year.
not bid low.
So they're spreading their costs over the beginning of the contract, and then for the remainder of the contract at that about 5-year mark, all they're entitled to is a CPI adjustment,
Okay.
despite what their costs may be.
But after this 11%, doesn't it go to CPI?
Yeah.
No, it's 11%, then I think it's another 8%, and then,
Then CPI. Yeah,
We have 2 more years of
right.
increases, including this
That
one.
were fixed increases. They had startup costs that they didn't hit us with to start with. They
Right.
that was over a period of time. They had to buy new trucks to take over our business.
But Eric's right. They priced it lower at the beginning and then the increases.
They built that into their plan.
Build them
Yeah.
back up. I mean, that, you know, it's money and they do the analysis
Right, okay.
over the term of the contract. And this was
The
the deal.
15-year.
This is our contract. So
Yeah.
we can't get away from the 11% to them, but we can supply that 11% right now in one of 2 ways, either from the users being increased by 11%, or from some combination of the users being increased by a lesser percent and us giving up more of our franchise fee.
And I'd like to want to say one other thing in response to your comment. So they bid low together. Prices that we're paying are less than we would be paying if we stayed with ecology.
Okay.
Okay, we
Right.
verified that.
Okay.
And I continue to verify that. They didn't do us a favor.
Right,
They did us a favor helping us get out of that contract.
right.
So I think it was an inappropriate comment.
Well, but I think the point is a good point that in anticipation of this increase, whatever the increase is, we should target what the recology rate would have been. So, because that would be good to communicate to residents when but we know they're going to ask.
Well, and on top, in line with Bill's comment about the 9%, next year's 8%. if we
So
could.
it's under 10%.
I know, but what I'm thinking about, yeah. All right. Next year is 11%.
26, which is what's coming up, is 11%. Yeah, it's a
Right.
January adjustment.
2 more increases. This one we're talking about, and then another. And that's it, just 2.
Then I believe it's CPI after that.
So the only thing I would say, from a view from the user or citizen view, if we wanted to do a change in the percentage or cover that increase, I would suggest we do to cover it to 8%. So then it'd be 2 years in a row at 8%, which would be, then it would just be the normal thing. Where if it's 9% and goes to 8, then it's kind of a, why did that happen? But that would be a way to handle it so that the individuals in the town would feel like, okay, we've leveled it out. We've also helped in the transition this year. And then it goes to
I
CPI after
think
that.
that's a great idea. But, again, on Recology, I know you weren't here when we were with Recology. We were the highest billed. We had the highest rates in the county, okay? And we had the highest recyclable rates. These guys are recycling substantially more than where we were before. We're doing a lot better, meeting our 1383 requirements, our state requirements, where South Bay Waste Management is
I wasn't saying
currently not.
anything against them. I just was making the comment that these started low and they're going up. That's all I was saying. But I've been through these negotiations with refuse collection before, so I understand what we're dealing with. Okay, what would the 3% be?
Well, the 3% would be a little over half of the 237,000. But we do have something that the subcommittee is aware of that Robert just reminded me of. We have some funds in the rate stabilization fund. So we could use that instead of reducing the rate to 5%, or instead of reducing our franchise fee, that pay green waste, offset the cost.
How much is in the rate stabilization fund?
Close to about 450,000.
Oh, then why don't we use that? Because that's what the rate stabilization fund is all about.
It was, but when the
Stabilize
committee
rates.
talked about it, you were going to talk about it more toward
Further
the
down,
end.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I know.
So 450,000 would, if we use the full amount of the rate stabilization fund, it would reduce to 5?
It would reduce the 11% by 5%.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
Where does that money come from? Is it getting replenished by some mechanism, or it's just sitting there?
So there's a rate, the waste hauler has a set amount of revenue that they need to collect for their hauling services. And the rates are charged based off of that. So the residents get charged a certain rate. So once they collect all the gross rates, and then they deduct their waste, their compensation, plus they pay our franchise fee. And then what's left is excess or surplus. I mean, surplus or deficit. Yeah, I was saying both at the same time.
But if people
Deficit.
get extra bins.
Correct.
Or there's overage charges,
So it'll-
then that goes into extra money that they
Correct.
weren't anticipating. That goes into the rate stabilization.
But because we haven't raised our rates, their rates, their compensation rate has been raised. So that's why there's that excess and there's the deficit.
Well,
So-
and that will continue.
Yes, correct.
So the rate stabilization fund grows slowly, but it will continue to grow slowly, right?
It grows slowly over time.
I understand.
But there could be a month where there's a deficit and there can be a month where there's an increase. But the way it is right now, it's a rolling, it's mostly a rolling deficit, like 3,000, 4,000 a month.
But by deficit, it's increasing the dollars that go into the rate stabilization fund.
No,
It's
when-
decreasing.
When it's a
Or is it
deficit.
taking money from the rate stabilization?
Yeah, so if we deplete it entirely, and then in a given month they have a deficit, we have to write green waste a check.
I see.
We don't want to use.
So is there
So why
a
don't we take
minimum?
enough out of the rate stabilization fund to reduce the increase from 11 to 8%?
Okay.
We'll figure that out and we'd bring that back as a contract.
Great.
Or actually, we wouldn't have
that
to do it as a
works for me.
contract amendment, just an action.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, because then we're not taking money out of our general fund.
Yeah,
You don't want us to approve it now and want to have us see the number.
I want you to see that number. It's not an
It's
actual
gonna be about
contract
300,000.
amendment.
It's going to be about 300.
So is that something you need to talk to the subcommittee about, or are you guys gonna work on it?
So we'll work on it at the staff level and we'll return it to the council in November.
Bill, does that work? That works for you, right, Bill?
Excuse me?
That works for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, George, was this one you just needed direction, not a motion? Okay, cool. So we're done with that one. Breezing through the agenda. So the next item and our final item is the discussion and direction regarding formation of a city charter. George, you wanna?
Yes,
about
thank
it?
you. I will talk about that one. 1 second, let me pull that up. So the city council subcommittee consisting of Councilmember DeGolia and Vice Mayor Holland have been meeting for several months at the council's direction to come up with a draft charter that the council could then consider. That's what's before you tonight. So the charter was designed to be very broad, not very specific with respect to, we're going to do this, we're not going to do that. So it's very broad to give the impression that our main goal is home rule. That's what's pretty much comes out of it from the preamble. It consists of a preamble and 5 sections. The preamble highlights the town's beliefs with respect to home rule and control over municipal affairs, which is a legal term of art. Article 1 outlines the parameters of home rule and what constitutes a municipal affair. It highlights that nothing within the charter is intended to restrict the town from exercising any right or power of authority that's granted by the general laws of the state. Article 2 is a basic section that highlights the town's form of local governance. Article 3 describes the method of selection of the mayor and vice mayor, which is also in our municipal code. Article 4 prescribes that all laws that are in effect upon adoption of the charter remain in effect. And Article 5 prescribes that the charter shall be interpreted broadly and that its provisions are severable. There are certain steps the town has to move through if the council chooses to move the charter forward. The next steps page on page 3 of 4 of the staff report talks about a number of public meetings. We would host community meetings and workshops in advance of adoption of the charter and sending it to the ballot to educate the community about it. We do at least 2 of those. And then we would host 2 city council public hearings for placing the charter on the ballot. Those are required by law and required to be spaced out sufficiently to do that. And then if it moves forward, staff also recommends that once it moves forward to the ballot, we host 2 additional community meetings for voter outreach to explain the benefits and implications of charter city status. Then we conduct the election in November of 2026, and it requires a majority +1 for adoption. That's the staff report. It's recommended the council discuss the charter and provide some direction if you want to continue to move forward.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions before?
The question I would have is, if the charter were to be implemented, I know how the process for implementing it. If the state were to change radically the value of charter city, what is the process to get out of charter city?
Can we abandon the charter? Is that the question?
Yes.
It would take another vote. We'd have to put it on the ballot and residents would have to vote it to be a general law city.
All right, so it's the same process out as it is to in. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any more questions? Okay, do we have any public comment on this, Anthony? Okay, great. So now discussion. Anyone want to start? Comments?
Start. I'll start.
Who wants to start?
I
Great.
didn't want to start, but I spoke up.
Fast.
First off, I wasn't in favor of moving forward with this. I wrote the original along with former Mayor Carlson, Bill Connors, and at that time, we were looking for funds so that we could do some additional projects as well as raise funds for building this complex. Those days have passed, and right now we're operating at a surplus. I don't really see, there was a potential of a need for something like this if we could have gotten out of some of the housing stuff. But of course, as fate showed us, all it takes is a quick change by a senator or a senator and an assemblyman to go ahead and put in an extra couple words into a law that then says, hey, charter cities are also included in this. So I, prefer not to move forward here, but if we all were going to move forward with it, there were a couple things in here that I didn't. First off, I thought the preamble was very well written, so whoever wrote that, thank you. Kudos to you. I thought that what you've written for the most part is, says, hey, everything's going to be the same centrally. I'm not in favor of putting in a comment about compensation for council members. For over 100 years, the council has worked here gratis, and I don't see a need for us to change that at this point in time. Secondly, I would want to say that my concern is this council or a future council could very easily then start looking other ways for doing additional taxes that are not provided to general law cities. So I want to put in a provision that says that it would only allow for taxes to be levied on its citizens as provided to only as provided to general law cities. So they would then have to amend the charter to say, we want to start taxing you, and then go and do the tax. So that would take a double vote, make sure people got the message that, hey, we're raising you. But overall, I'm not in favor of moving forward with it. I voted against it when we first started. I just don't think it's worthwhile at this point in time. It may be in the future, but I'm not in favor of moving forward with it now. I don't think it adds anything except for cost. Thank you.
Started raising your hand.
Yeah, I'll say something. So I don't agree with what Bill said. I don't have any problem with removing the sentence regarding compensation. I mean, we say that everything that currently exists in our ordinance will remain, and that certainly covers the compensation issue. So I don't think we need to include the sentence compensation that's in there. I don't agree about the taxes. This doesn't include any taxes, and yes, a charter city has the ability to create certain taxes, as does certain taxes that a common law city couldn't do, but that would require an amendment to the charter, which would require a vote of the population, which is appropriate. So I think it accomplishes and addresses the concern that Bill has, and I don't think we need to put in something about that now. I agree that the area is in transition, and it's in transition because the state is currently asserting control over more issues that had historically been within the domain of home rule and local control. And while they may not have stated that, for example, SB 9 is an issue of statewide concern, if they haven't done that, they will do it. But it's also very possible that there's going to be a reaction to the state assertion of state control and reduction of local control. And that hasn't developed into an initiative yet, but it could. We don't know where this is going, but it's in transition. I think that's the best analysis that we can have. Being a charter city does assert the issue of home rule, which you don't have as a common law city. How valuable that is what's uncertain. Clearly, one area where there would be value if we wanted to assert it, and we see some communities around us asserting it, are things like transfer tax and taxation related issues. That's not something we're interested in, so we're not including it in the charter. But I think it gives us some protection in the future because I do think there's going to be some changes. And to the extent there's any increased local control with the home rule provisions in the state constitution, then that is a potential benefit, even if not a real benefit. And I don't see any reason not to pursue it. So I support doing this, and I think the charter that we've drafted is minimal. You have to say it's minimal. It's a page and a half, which I think is appropriate. That's what we want. We're not trying to assert some big issue other than grasp onto whatever substance there may be in the home rule assertion. So I support it.
Oh, Mona, you want to say something?
I do. We did intentionally add the language regarding council compensation into the draft charter because Government Code Section 34458.5 says that a proposal to adopt or amend a charter shall include in the ballot description an enumeration of new city powers as a result of the adoption of the charter, including but not limited to whether the council will have the power to raise its own compensation and the compensation of other city officials without voter approval. So that's a section that the government code requires us to include.
You say what the compensation level should start at?
No, we do not have to do that. We just have to say whether or not the charter will empower the council to set compensation without voter approval and pursuant to statute, or whether it needs to be set by voter approval.
Well, our compensation level for elected officials, we make that it's a public discussion. We vote on it in a public meeting, so it is subject to public feedback.
Right, and that's why we took the same approach in the draft charter by including the sentence that simply says that city council compensation will be those limits that set forth in the government code as may be amended from time to time. So you will not be exceeding that. You will be limiting it to what the government code says, which is a limit that may be expanded with a COLA adjustment.
But it says it at the beginning, does it not? Does it set it at the beginning at the $6,000 per month level?
I'm sorry, do you mean the government code?
No, I think
Right now, the government code says you can pay council members, I believe, up to $6,000 a year.
Which can change from time to time, correct?
That's right, unless they go with a higher number like Palo Alto did with substantially higher numbers. But so it would be set at $6,000 a year from the time that this gets approved by the population.
That would be the max though, right? That would not
Right.
be.
But the compensation would not be set. You could set it at a meeting, as you indicated, but the charter, by adoption of the charter, doesn't set your compensation.
It's also dependent on population too.
Yeah, I got it, but we're not at the high level.
So I think the key question is, does this change anything?
Well, there is another question, which is what's the total cost to get to it? So there's legal fees, there's an election, there's the production of everything else. There's hoops to go through in terms of the state approving the fact that we are legitimately on our path.
Public meetings.
So what are we talking about? Are we talking about $500,000 or $3 million? I don't need to know 100.
Talking about
5,000.
Yeah, or 5,000. Right. How much?
Probably less than 25K.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, to clearly there's a cost to put it on the ballot.
Yes.
Which we've assessed, I think, what that cost is.
Well, we're already going to have an election that year, so we're already on the ballot. This is just another item for us, so it's.
But isn't there to have another item, there's a small cost?
Probably a small cost for that, but.
If we have the election.
If we have the
That's the
election.
question.
Well, all of our seats are.
Well, we have 4 seats coming up.
Yeah, so all of us at this, right here, are up for reelection.
That is correct.
So Elizabeth's the only one
Not the guy
who's
down the end of the
not-
table. He
but your
said he
seat,
wouldn't.
Whatever.
There are 4 seats open.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And then
we-
you got 4 public meetings, so there's staff time, but that's about it.
I mean, I think, but I must say, I think Bill's comment is still correct, that in the event there's not an election, then there would be a cost associated with the charter item that we wouldn't otherwise have.
That's correct.
But that would still keep it under $50,000. I don't remember.
That's correct. It's like 15
All
to
right, well,
25.
I don't need to know anything more than it's less than $100,000.
But the legal work is pretty much done.
Okay.
The cost of the election's already in our budget,
Yeah.
so that's already, because
Yeah.
we're assuming there will be.
All right, well, I just want to make sure I understood the scale we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Well, the election will be in this year's budget.
Right, but
It's
either
not
way,
in the
it's
budget
not
yet.
an additional outside of our.
So what's the downside?
The downside is whatever the $20,000 to $50,000 cost is, whatever it would cost us to do the election, and we're going to have some additional meetings. Now, I understand, and staff has proposed 6 meetings that involve the council, 2 of which are public workshops that are additional meetings that aren't scheduled. The other 4, 2 public hearings and 2 meetings once it's been put on the ballot. All 4 of those could be coincident with a council meeting. So there isn't additional meetings for those 4. It's just obviously additional agenda item. But we do have 2 additional public workshops. Staff suggested that we might consider having local neighborhood meetings in those different areas of town where we have neighborhood associations. And I would say, rather than planning for those meetings, that if any of those neighborhood associations would like a presentation on the charter amendment or charter proposal, that we figure out how to do that and we go and present to them. But I don't think this is like organizing a whole bunch of neighborhood meetings like we did when we did the town center.
I wasn't referring to the downside from the logistics of it. I was asking it more from the standpoint of, why isn't every town doing this? What is the downside to every town? Why isn't everybody doing this? So there must be some sort of.
Mona's got her hand up.
Yeah.
Mona, you
So,
wanna?
so there's 2 things that you should be aware of. Number 1, anytime you want to make an amendment to the charter, you now have to go back to the voters, put it on the ballot. And so there's timing considerations, there's cost associated with that. And in Atherton's case, it's a very simplistic charter. A lot of other communities have robust charters that could be 25, 30 pages long. So that's when it would be much more problematic. But here, if you wanted to add more specific sections in there, again, we'd have to go through the same exact process. And timing, of course, is a factor. Another thing is that it could potentially be used as another weapon, I will say, for folks who are not pleased with the town council's decisions on certain projects or approvals. And the argument would be, for whatever reason, you shouldn't have done that. You couldn't have done that because you're a charter city. You should have exempted yourself. And so now there's the potential to kind of engage in a debate or potential litigation about whether or not you're subject to a law or rule because you're a charter city. And sometimes it's, something like SB 9, where it's, the law that is still being challenged at the Court of Appeal level by some of the cities in Southern California, taking the position that does not apply to charter cities. So in that instance, it's the cities, the charter cities, that are taking that position. But it could also be, opponents of housing that don't want you to approve SB9 lots and saying that you shouldn't do this and trying to stop or enjoin you from doing so. So those are some considerations that you should keep in mind. I don't know how likely either of them would be, but they're both possible.
Good.
Okay, does that?
Well, this is, I would say that this would be an important enough one for Elizabeth to be on the conversation. So I wouldn't be for moving ahead on it until she's back. But that's just where I am on it.
We're approaching the end of amount of time we can make that decision. Is that, or do we have to make a decision tonight, or could we?
No, you could continue.
Oh, we could, so we have time.
I just think it's an important enough one for everybody to be in. I don't know what her stand is on it.
Yeah. My concern with this, since I have not opined yet, is that I don't know that there's enough. It's not as clear what the benefit is for when it appears on the ballot that people vote for it. I feel like we haven't been able to articulate a because it's essentially, this is a protection against a thing that we don't know about in the future. And so that's my worry is that we're going to spend a lot of time putting this on the ballot without being able to clearly articulate its actual benefit, because we had initiated this because people were thinking it was a solution for some of our housing issues, and it's become very, very clear to us that it is not a fix for that. And so not at this time. It might maybe give us protection in the future, but we're not. It doesn't seem like it currently. We'll see. Maybe so much housing will be built that all of these charter city exceptions go away for the next cycle. Who knows? But I think that's the challenge I'm having with it, is that I think it might one day be really glad that we're a charter city, but I don't feel like if someone were to ask me, should I vote for it? Why should I vote for it in 30 seconds or less? It's I can't do it in a short.
But it can be done anytime.
Yeah.
Okay, we looked at doing it once and we decided not to because of the concern over the real estate transfer tax. Then it looked like it was a good possibility to exempt ourselves from some of the onerous portions of the housing. And then that got overridden. So, whether it's done now or it's done in the future, my concern is what a future council could do with it long after what we thought we were doing it for and done. So.
Well, I would say that the other side of that is that their potential burden that we're giving to the future council is, oh, by the way, you want to change that? It's obvious it needs to be changed. Well, it's going to cost you $50,000 to do it in 6 months. So, the rigidness of the change to it is a big issue for me. So,
That's part of why we had it be such a very short charter. We worked really hard to have it be powerful and short so that we wouldn't have to have updates in the future.
You did a good job with that.
Yeah,
it was very good.
Thank you. We worked very hard on it. 3 very long meetings.
Let me just say, I think in terms of the argument for it, it's an argument for home rule and local control. And how far that gets us, we're not entirely certain, but I think that's a very strong argument for home rule and local control. And I think that a majority of our residents would support that.
in concept, the just question would be 15 minutes after it's passed, they say, okay, what are you doing differently that you weren't doing before?
Well, if you read the charter, we're not doing anything differently.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
But we're asserting that we're going to take local control wherever we can. Now, when we tried to do it before, because we needed to pass some additional taxation in order to build this town center. That's why we looked at it. And that had to do with property transfer tax. And we got a lot of pushback on that and decided not to pursue that. And it turns out, in retrospect, we actually found another way to solve the problem and we didn't need it. So, but this is a totally different issue. This is asserting the home rule and local control issue, which could have been asserted before, but we weren't focused on. So I'm not that worried about the argument. I mean, I think it has to be well written, but I think there's a valid argument for it. I'm also not that worried about it hamstringing future councils because it's got to go to the voters to have a change. Now, there is a complexity there, which is what you point out, Eric, which is it's going to take some dollars and tens of thousands of dollars and some time because you got to wait till the next general election to change the charter. But I think that the language of this charter is so broad for us, it's basically California law. It's basically what we're governed by right now, that, you know, you can't see what you can't see, but I don't see that that is a problem. And if we get some benefit from asserting home rule and local control, then that's a benefit. And, you know, that could become valuable.
Willing to move forward with it, Rick. I have the reservations.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
Eric
we want to
suggested
push
that
it
we
off,
wait,
that's fine.
that
but
we
I think
continue it.
I think there's probably 3 votes for it now.
Whatever. You know, if we've got the time, sure.
Well, we've discussed it. I move we approve it.
I'll second it.
Third vote.
Eric,
I know.
so don't take until 8 o'clock, please.
Wait, you got big plans?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
actually.
I don't know, Eric. What are we doing?
You got to call the vote.
We got to call vote. Okay. Do you have any more comments before?
I'm going to wait for Elizabeth. So I'm going to either say no or abstain. So whichever way your vote's going to do it or not.
And did we take public comment on this?
We did. I know how
You
Elizabeth's
helped
going to
write
vote.
it. You
I
might
did.
as well vote on it. I mean to put pressure on you, but you were on the committee.
Look, I didn't volunteer to be on this committee. I got assigned it. So hold on. So I think it's a good charter. I honestly, like, I don't know. I just don't think
Well, voting for it now moves us forward to 2
Put it.
public workshops.
and then we
And
decide again.
We could decide as a result of discussion that occurs at those public workshops not to pursue it. This isn't locking us into
Because
anything.
we have to
It's-
write,
Is it?
we're
This
gonna
is
have to
just
write a
moving the ball
proposal.
forward.
We have to write a proposal to get it on the ballot. You know,
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
gotta-
have to approve that. There's lots of stuff that has to happen between now and then.
Oh, wait, so, okay, because then I'm guess if it's doing more workshops, but if it's putting it on the ballot today, I would probably vote
Now,
no.
your vote to put it on the ballot would be in May, June of next year.
Okay.
You'd have 2 public workshops prior to that.
So
You
she
are-
said yes, so-
You are providing direction. You are providing direction to staff right now. Part of that direction could be feedback from the public workshops, bring it back to the council, and have the council make further decisions at that point.
Okay. I'm in favor of that.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, we have to
Well,
say yes.
no,
We have
I
to
thought we
finish the
already
vote.
voted. We got
We
3
have to
votes.
finish the vote. So Eric, so knowing that this is more of a green lighting public workshops to get more public feedback before we just
I'm still gonna
decide
vote
again.
no, because I want to wait for Elizabeth. So I'm to vote.
Or vote no. Okay. All right. So he's a no, I'm a yes. Yes.
Yes.
Do we have to do this in a more formal way or is this good enough?
That's good enough.
Okay. Great. Okay, so we are not done with the agenda, Bill. We have to do report out of our various meetings. Does anyone have any things or future agendas that you want to? Yes.
Yeah, so Peninsula Clean Energy has its annual retreat in October, which is the 4th Thursday, starts at 5 o'clock. It's a very big meeting. Peninsula Clean Energy has been doing extremely well. I could go into great detail about it, but we've got about $350 million in the bank, and we are facing a difficult year in 26 because it's very likely that PG&E will reduce its generation rates, which impact us, and increase the PCIA, or the California Public Utilities Commission will authorize an increase in the PCIA because of political issues, and that will adversely impact us. But we have reserved an amount in the bank for out of our funds to take care of us and not force us to raise our rates to our customers. And our rates are currently about 10% below PG&E in San Mateo County and about maybe 20% below Spanos. So the organization is also deeply in the middle of assessing whether or not it wants to change its name, which is likely to come up not at the retreat this month, but next month. And they are in the process of looking to change their facility from Redwood City to San Mateo, which isn't great for us, but it's better for the county overall because the center's DC in the county, where now it's definitely centered in the South County.
Okay. Yeah.
Robert and I went to the California Cities Conference down in Long Beach. There were a lot of presentations on disaster preparedness and disaster response. There was a special presentation on what went right and what went wrong with the Maui fires. I've reviewed some of this with George. There was also ways, different organizations that help raise money for public groups, and there's a potential that maybe we could, that I talked to George, as we move forward a little bit with college, they might service to us or college once they know exactly what they want to get done. So there was a lot of great presentations. Robert attended a lot of the finance ones, as you probably could imagine. I thought it was one of the better conferences that I've ever attended. The next one is in Anaheim at the end of September. Interested in going. Try out for it. If anybody wants to go over some of the schedules, I can get you the charts that were there and meetings that I went out to give you perspective on. There weren't that many mind-blowing exhibitors there this year, which I was a little disappointed at. But there were some that have, AI-assisted front desk for planning and building department that George and I spoke about, and others that are some innovative things in street. So they had a lot for ticketing, but that doesn't really apply to us, so to speak. But they did have ones that you put in the pavement that item sensors that will measure how long a car has been parked in a certain spot. And I know at one time we talked about limiting people to parking here for 4 hours. That may be something of interest, but all in all, I thought it was a better conference than it has been over the last 2 or 3 years. So we are getting better. I don't know what the schedule will be for next year. They haven't put that out yet. They're currently asking people to put in comments of what they're looking at. But thought about going and you didn't, you missed a good one. Robert, do you have anything?
No, it's been a while since I've been to League California Cities, and I echo the sentiment that it's a better one. A lot of attendees, a lot of assistant city managers, a lot of city managers, council members, finance directors as well. But yeah, meeting other counterparts for different cities and seeing what they do, small cities, different sizes. So it was a great turnout and met some great people, some council members, some assistant city managers as well, and finance, the Cal Cities finance team. So met with them and now on board with them and collaborating on ideas and stuff for our cities and what we're doing. So it was a pretty good conference.
Karaoke at the next council team building session.
All right.
And there was karaoke.
Where'd you hear that from?
Oh.
Where'd you hear that from?
You guys like best friends now? Fun.
You can check out a karaoke machine. There's 4 of them over at the library.
Cool.
And I think we could bring one in here.
Let's do it.
Or have it at our Christmas party.
Let's have Eric go first.
You
He's
know
our
what?
new guy.
That's
hazing.
why I play trumpet, so I don't do karaoke. I put something in front of my mouth.
Okay, I have one report and then I'll close this meeting. The Bike Ped Transportation Committee meeting, the police department gave a really excellent presentation on all the different types of e-bikes and electric vehicles. Is that coming in front of the council or is that something that can be sent to everybody?
It's actually going to be at the community safety meeting coming up next week.
Okay, but is the rest of the count, I mean,
That's another
because
thing.
everyone's for sure going to that? I just thought it was so helpful because there's so many different types of vehicles and rules and what's street legal and insurance. And
Oh, yeah, well, and
it's
but the
crazy.
speed is
Yeah,
just
and I
incredible.
thought
and
the
weight.
document that you guys had, the PD had presented was really helpful.
We included
so-
that document in one of the Friday emails, so the council
everyone
got a
needs to
copy of
read
that.
it.
You're getting a 300-pound thing going at 22 miles an hour. It's
28.
You're 20. Well, the max is 28. Yeah, I mean 22 to 28 miles an hour. That's in a bike lane. And with you're talking about problems with the cars running into the bike lane. Those things are more dangerous to kids than
Yeah,
than that.
I just think that needs to get like the most daylight possible, so. Okay.
Good.
Okay, cool. Anyone else have anything? Okay, then this meeting's adjourned. I'll do the hammer.
Bye, Mona.
Look at
Bye,
me.
good night.
Before